Hello? Anybody there?
I see Mr. Pearson, is that you talking?
Hi,
Aye,
Okay.
okay. We're just starting up now.
okay. I'm in the public area, so the background noise, I cannot avoid that.
Okay,
Okay, 1 second. Okay, we're gonna start the meeting. Welcome, everybody. It's 2:08 p.m. August 9, 2023. In compliance with Public Law 24-109, Guam Ancestral Lands Commission published the public meeting announcement for Wednesday, July 12, 2023, and the Guam Daily Post on Wednesday, July 5th, 2023, and Monday, July 10th, 2023. Director, roll call.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, Chairman Eclavea,
Present.
Vice Chairman Laguardia,
Yes, yeah.
Secretary Treasurer Cruz,
Here.
Commissioner Camacho,
Here.
Commissioner Orlino. Mr. Chair, I don't see Commissioner Orlino online just yet.
Noted.
Okay, Commissioner Rios. Mr. Chair, I don't see Commissioner Rios logged in yet at this time.
Noted.
And Commissioner Wesley. Mr. Chair, I don't see Commissioner Wesley logged on just yet.
Noted.
Okay, but Mr. Chair, we have a quorum of 4.
So Jules Machi, Director. Okay, let's move on down now to approval of minutes. Just of note, the approval of minutes is for A, July 12, 2023 regular meeting, and B, July 26, 2023 special meeting. Joey, I have a question, Joey.
Yes, sir.
On my screen, I show a recording blinking on top of my left side of my screen. Am I recording that, or is that your signal? Is that indicating
no.
you're recording?
We are recording. I'm recording.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
so
Joey
that
is
doesn't mean
sharing-
I'm recording it.
No, Joey's sharing his screen and he's recording.
Oh, okay,
The
okay.
meeting.
I kept trying to turn it off. I thought I was recording.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay,
yeah, you're looking at Joey's screen right now.
okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Madam Secretary?
I'd like to make a motion only on the July 12th regular meeting because I was not present for the July 26th special meeting. Unless someone
Okay.
asks to. Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to approve the regular, the minutes for the regular meeting for July 12th, 2023. Subject to corrections per audio recordings.
Motion on the floor for approval of July 12th, 2023 regular meeting. We have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, second by Vice Chair Laguarnia. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay.
Okay, any nays? No nays?
Motion
Motion
passes.
passes. Motion passes, Director?
Noted. Thank you.
Okay. We're still on item B, July 26th, special meeting 2023.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I would like to move to approve the minutes July 26th for the special meeting due to with the subject for corrections and with the audio recordings as well.
Okay, Vice Chair makes the motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting of July 26th, 2023. We have a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
Commissioner Camacho.
seconded by Commissioner Camacho. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
nays? Any nays? No nays. Okay, Director, motion passes.
Okay, noted. Thank you. Thank you, commissioners.
Director, just to note, we do have the necessary votes to pass the minutes on the quorum.
Yes, it's a majority. We do have a quorum. And it's a majority of those present.
Okay. Excuse my
Commissioner
okay, we
Reyes
move.
noted that he'll be logging in as soon as he's done with his other meeting. So we should have 5 soon enough.
Okay, thank you, Director. Let's move down to item number 4, Executive Director's Report.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chair. The RFP GALC 22-001, that's the Independent Audit Services. The Financial Audit Entrance Conference was held Tuesday, August 1st. In attendance were representatives from the Office of Ernst & Young, the Office of the Public Auditor, and the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission. Of concern was the discussion on what they call doubtful debts or accounts receivables that are viewed as bad debt. I informed the OPA that the Board of Commissioners have had meetings with the tenants on this issue and have demanded that the tenants start making substantial payments towards arrears within reasonable time or be declared in default. The next meeting with the auditors and with Ernst & Young
Mhm.
is scheduled for August 23rd at 9 a.m. Now, the 2023 Governor's Land Summit was held on July 25th, 2023. Multiple government of Guam agencies gathered for the 2023 Governor's Land Summit to share information on land inventory, land use, and land plans to ensure that our natural resources are used efficiently and to plan for the sustainable use of government funds or lands. This was the second Governor's Land Summit. The first was held over 20 years ago in 2003. The information gathered will be compiled into a report and submitted to the governor. Representing the commission were our Vice Chairman, Ronald Laguana, myself, Land Agent 3, Joey Leon Guerrero, and Land Agent 1, Andy Mendiola. Attached for your review is our presentation that we made at the Governor's Land Summit. It's quite lengthy, so I'll allow you to read that during your spare time. Okay, the budget. As you were previously informed, Ancestral Lands was no longer scheduled to have a budget hearing. And as of today, the legislature went into session to discuss the budget. And in anticipation, however, of increased activity and our desire to attain more federal grant assistance, the commission reassessed its staffing needs and determined that the commission does not have the staff capability to ensure proper accounting of funds generated from our current and future commercial leasing revenue, compliance with governmental accounting standards, and with the comprehensive requirements of federal grants. So with this, the commission submitted a letter to the chairman of the Committee on General Government Operations, that Senator Joe San Agustin, requesting an additional appropriation of $110,000 from the SID account to recruit the needed personnel. We haven't gotten, and of course, the proposed staffing pattern updated was provided to you as an attachment. We haven't gotten a response on that, and then I don't think we'll get a response until we see what happens with the discussions held in the budget right now in the budget session. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for the opportunity to present this update.
Just Masi, Director. Any questions?
Thank you.
Board members? Okay, Director, I guess no questions.
Yes, I have a question.
Oh, okay, Vice Chair.
Yeah, that request from the SID fund for additional staff, am I correct?
Yes.
And what comprises of those additional staff?
Okay, that's in the back. Kathy? Or Joey, if you can go scroll down to the last, okay, right there. I was gonna ask you if you could flip that around. Go back up. One more sheet. Okay, but go back to the sheet before that. There you go. A program coordinator 4 and a land agent 2. We would like to, there's a lot of federal grants out there right now that I'm aware of. So far we've received with the latest federal funds, our 4th grant that we've received here, but we don't have the personnel to go after that. We're lucky right now to be able to obtain so far 4 grants. We know that there's a lot of federal funds that we could bring into the commission if we have people to look for them, and somebody that has that type of experience under their belt. The funding is out there. I'm aware that we just received, or GovGuam just received about $151 million to use to upgrade our internet systems. We could really use people to bring that in. And I think whoever we bring in, we would more than make up for the funds that we would be paying for them. And of course, another land agent. We need to bring other people in. You see how far we've gone thus far. I think we've got a lot of business that we've accomplished thus far. And with the size of staff we've gotten, and we could do more if we bring in more people. That's pretty much the bottom line. So
What about, have you inquired with regards to the governor's office of the clearinghouse office there for respective grants that they can assist in writing those grants?
yeah, we've been using BSB for that. And they've been helping us out. But it does take a lot of work on our part. The last sizable grant, I mean, the one we most recently received was $25,000 in federal funds. But prior to that, we're still working out with OTEC with a $182,000 TAP grant that we received. Waiting for OTEC right now to come out and actually say that what we prepared is ready to go for us to place an RFP out on it. But we do need somebody to follow up on those things. It's pretty tight right now with just those of us here doing that. And I've tasked Kathy to work on that. So yeah, they do need assistance with that. So the
Okay,
more
also,
just have the
second
people,
question.
we could get more money. Yes.
Second question, so are we receiving any monies from the GovGuam budget, or have we been eliminated?
Okay, recently, the current budget, we found out that OFB removed us from the general fund. We did receive $90,000 last year from the efforts of Senator Telo Taitigui. And with that, we
Right.
were able to hire an administrative assistant. This year, I wrote a memo to the speaker. She reached out to us, and we stated our concern that the current proposed FY24 budget for ancestral lands is short about $100,000. And OFB wanted to remove us from the general fund, saying that their position is that we earn enough money from our leases, and they would like to transfer us and have us live off our special funds and not the general fund. So their proposal was to give us 50% of the net lease proceeds from the AT&T lease, but that would be insufficient. If they grant us 100% of that lease, it would be able to carry us through the FY24. But our request that we submitted was to obtain funding from the general fund. We were asking $188,000 from the general fund and just over $400,000 from our special fund, from the SID account. We'll see. I sent this off to the speaker. She's our oversight. They're in session now, so hopefully she'll follow through. And her position is that we should be funded entirely by the general fund and not touch any of our funding sources. So
Yeah.
it's a difference between the speaker, who's our oversight, and the OFB, the Office of Finance and Budget at the legislature. There's a tug of war going on between them on how to fund the Ancestral Lands Commission.
Yeah.
So the speaker wants us on 100% general funds, and OFB wants us 100% on the funds that we raise.
I question that because we've always been funded by the Office of Finance and Budget, and I'm always hesitant to utilize monies that is to be utilized for the survey and infrastructure development for the original landowners. So I'm really hesitant about using our monies, and it's just a way of them to be responsible again. But those monies are earned monies for the original landowners who will never get to see their lands back again. And I
Right.
just want to put that on record that, I'm not in favor of taking out monies from the SID unless it is strictly for survey and infrastructure development. That's what we need to do. Start surveying these properties and, start getting our ball in the road and start distributing our funds to our original landowners. Somehow let's move on. I would like to place that on record that that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, in the past, I'm aware that operations were funded in the beginning through the general fund and then later on through a special fund set up where funds were granted to us from GIDA. And then over the years, it was a split between the general fund and the Survey Infrastructure Development Fund. And then during a point in time, it was specifically just special funds. We were taken off the general fund. And last year I was able to, through the working with Senator Tydegui, we were able to obtain some general fund monies. And I was hoping that we could expand on that this year. But the OFB has been against that. So I'm hoping the speaker can help us out and place us entirely on the general fund. I sent her a message the other day concerning this, knowing they're going into session today. And hopefully, I know she will try her best to place us on the general fund, but if not, we will be tapping into the SID account again. But like I said, since I've been here, last year was the only year that we've had a little funding source from the general fund. Our funding sources since my arrival, except for that 1 year, was from the SID account. And I don't like touching the SID account like you, Vice
No.
Chair.
I would like to ask, Mr. Director, did you provide, this was submitted already, right? Do you have a copy of the organizational chart along with this budget? Because I know that's a part of the requirement, and a functional chart along with the job
we have-
description for these positions?
We have all of that, yes.
Hmm.
But
I would like to, I don't know if it's
see.
possible, you can send me a copy of that.
Okay, Kathy will put it together. It's quite lengthy. I don't know if we can send it via email. We may have to place it on a flash drive.
Just those three. The two, the functional chart,
Okay,
organizational chart, and their just the position descriptions
Okay,
in
Kathy, you
accordance
heard
with the
that?
budget. Just those three. The
Okay,
functional chart, organizational chart, and the job description for those two positions. And
okay,
guys, I already see the budget for that.
okay. So hopefully they'll listen to the speaker and get all of our funding
Yeah.
sources. under the
Yeah,
general fund. But
because
I know she's dealing with at the legislature. They're going to try the OFB is going to recommend that we be placed entirely on the SID account or the SID funds.
who's recommending? Pardon me?
I believe the Office of Finance and Budget, that's coming out of Senator San Augustine's office.
And who? Yeah, and who's the speaker is the oversight chair for our agency, right? Guam Ancestral Lands Commission. Speaker
Yes.
Tolai, am I correct?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay. And you haven't received a reply from her in written form by any chance regarding the budget?
No, I sent it to her. She reached out to us. I sent her a response yesterday,
Okay.
and they went into session today.
Yes. I was watching on TV. Okay.
Yeah,
Very well. Thank you.
I'd like to recognize that Commissioner Westling logged in.
Yeah. Okay. Acknowledge.
Noted. Welcome, Commissioner Westling.
Thank you. I logged in earlier, just been listening.
Okay, any further questions?
I have a question.
Okay, Commissioner Camacho.
Director, you mentioned that you wanted to apply for grants and that was the
Yes.
justification. So what type of grants are you looking at?
We actually have to look through the grants that are available that we can find that could be used here. Like I said, currently, we would like to get grants that would allow us to survey property. I know that there's some out there. We just don't have the staff to go through each and every one of them. There's millions of dollars worth out there of grants available. We
So
just
for
don't have the person.
example-
Our staff here is kind of small.
So these grants could possibly fund survey and infrastructure?
Possible.
So-
There's some that are possible. I'm not saying that, you know, which ones. I personally haven't had the time to look for them, but like I said, since we've been here, we've got already our 4th grant, but it's, you know, there's more out there where we can access funds to supplement the funding for the office. So if you don't have the staff that's trained to look for them, then you're not gonna be able to apply for any of them. You have to find them first and then fill out the grant forms. And yes, we've been using BSP. We've been doing what we can whenever we have the opportunity. I just know there's a lot that we're missing.
But your priorities, I'm hearing, are survey and infrastructure. Is that the priority
Yes.
for?
Right,
Okay.
we do have a funding for that, but we're using it for operations, for administration, and there is nothing left over to do survey. So whenever we do surveys like now, like what's going on now up in Manila, land management is handling that.
Right. All right,
So
thank you.
there are other ways of getting around it, but I'm just saying that there are funds out there that are available, and we need the people to try to access these funds. We don't have enough personnel here to do all of that.
Okay, one final question,
Yes,
Mr. Director. Are these positions unclassified positions? Can you identify those?
they'll be classified.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, the vice chair asked if they're unclassified. No, they are classified. The only unclassified position here is the director's position. And we have one LTA, limited term appointee on the staff. That's Mara Paris. The rest are all classified.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions? Okay, before we move on, I'd like to echo the vice chair's sentiments regarding the funding source for our agency, and I echo the thoughts that it basically should be 100% funded by the general fund. Definitely not from the city account. So if no further questions, let's move on.
Can I just make a point for the record as well?
Sure, go ahead, Commissioner Camacho.
Absolutely. I don't think that anybody would argue with that the general fund should pay for operations. I don't think that anybody thinks that any of Guam Ancestral Lands funds should pay for any operations. So just for the record.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Camacho, for your support on that. But for some reason, I think the office, the San Augustine's commission, or his position is that no, it should be our trust funds to basically fund our whole agency. But thank you for that support. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we move down to item 5.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm sorry.
I think we should. I think we should allow the director to acknowledges his report complete.
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe he did.
reports,
I believe he
I
did.
did that, yes, earlier,
Okay, okay,
but thank you,
Okay.
everyone. Thank
okay.
you,
So
Vice
we
Chair.
move. Okay, we just I guess I approve to accept the executive director's report.
Okay, we move down to item number 5, GITA progress report. GITA?
Half-day Commissioners, GALC staff, my name is Megan Obispo, and in Tony's absence, I will be presenting the GITA monthly progress report. So starting off with Weddingale Junction Northern Market, their monthly rent is $27,854.51, and they have an outstanding balance of $1,661,358.73. In the last GALC board meeting, the board commission granted GITA more time to explore a way forward with Northern Market to address the arrears along with increased revenues for GALC in the long term. Quick Space, their monthly rent is $4,029.02, and their outstanding balance is $4,263.68. Their last payment was received on July 14th. Matson, their monthly rent is $27,733, and their outstanding balance is $27,733, and their last payment was received on July 27th. Transsteel, their monthly rent is $500, and their outstanding balance is $9,500. Their last payment was received on July 31st in the amount of $600. Mr. John Pearson submitted a proposal via hand delivery on July 31st. The proposal states that he will pay outstanding arrears no later than the end of year 2025. And he hopes to pay an additional monthly amount on top of the current $600 by early 2024. The proposal letter is attached for your review. AT&T, their monthly rent is $22,939.42. Their outstanding balance is $0, and their last payment was received on August 3rd. F12 Polaris Point Smithbridge, their monthly rent is $8,800, and their outstanding balance is $0. Their last payment was received on August 3rd. For Farmers Cooperative Association of Guam, their CY 2021 annual rent was $4,822.32. They currently have an outstanding balance of $1,205.58. Their last payment was received on July 5th in the amount of $401.86, and that would be their third installment payment. We are still pending submission of their CY 2022 financial statements. We made follow-ups, several follow-ups, and our last one was made on August 3rd, but their last response was provided on May 5th, that their submission of statements will be remitted soon, but they did not specify a date. Moving on to Teason Properties, Guam Environmental Protection Agency, their monthly rent is $8,000, and their outstanding balance is $272,000. Their last payment was received on May 9th. And in the last board meeting, the commission approved the 3 months extension on the reconciling of their lease payment account. DPHSS WIC, their monthly rent is $8,400, and their outstanding balance is $45,899.35. Their last payment was received on April 27th in the amount of $16,800. And we will continue to follow up on when they will begin making monthly payments as well as payments toward their arrears. Moving on to other items, F12 Polaris Mitigation Plan. An update on GIPA. Darian, the GIPA rep, stated that US EPA is undergoing a change of management and we need to meet with the new grant manager before moving forward with our inquiry. And that response was provided via email on August 2nd. And if it's okay with the commission, we have Dan Swavely in attendance from Smithbridge, and he would like to address the board to explain the status and next step of the mitigation plan.
Okay.
I have a question, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Vice Chair. Go ahead.
Yeah, for the on the GITA report, I would like to ask for with regards to Northern Marketing, have they paid Are they up with their monthly payment, 27.8K? And when was the last time
No.
they paid?
The last payment received was on February 8th of this year. We have not received a payment since February 8th.
Wow. Okay, with regards to Quick Space is behind one payment. Am I correct? Monthly payment?
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay. And okay, so that's good. Go ahead, proceed.
Okay, continue. And I know that Gita, you mentioned you have Mr. Dan Swavely to make a comment on something, but do we have any further questions regarding her presentation? Her report?
Yeah, one more time, Mr. Chair. You know, the last meeting
Okay, Vice Chair.
I requested, what is the current balance in our land bank account?
In the total land bank account, we have
Yes.
over $16 million.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions for the Gator report?
Yeah. One last final one. Will Northern Marketing be present in today's meeting?
No, they will not be present today.
Oh, okay. I was hoping that we would get an update on their status with regards to our last meeting with them. So I would like to suggest that they as soon as possible come and report to us. We need to catch up with our arrears, right, Commissioner Leslie? I mean, we're in dire. We're behind. That's all. Thank you.
Off of day, Mr. Vice Chair, we will be addressing that in the next
Segment.
agenda
Okay.
item.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so Gita, so we move on with Mr. Swavely.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Real briefly, we signed the Polaris Point lease in latter August, and so immediately after the execution of that lease, Smithbridge issued an RFP for the mitigation of the contaminated 5 acres. Right, we got 3 responses from that. In September 2022, we recommended that we hire the firm PCR Environmental. It's a local firm, been in business a long time, and they have good experience with mitigation of contaminated sites on Guam. In October, EDA approved that PCR prepare a scope of work for addressing the mitigation work. Then, PCR made it clear that the 2008 Phase 1 report regarding the contaminated parcel did not contain enough information regarding the specificity of the hazardous waste or the quantity of the waste to actually move directly into their removal and probably disposal off island. So we knew this all along because a Phase 1 report only tells us generically that, yes, the site is contaminated. Yes, these are the types of waste, et cetera, but not enough to go in there and start removing them. So then I submitted that explanation then in November, and in processing that information, GIDA consulted EPA as a subject matter expert in contaminated waste. And then EPA saw that one of the scopes of work that we had was we would be looking at a brownfields grant, which is a US EPA grant to help mitigate contaminated parcels. Well, that's good news, right? Maybe we can get some free money here. So EPA said, hey, we've done this before. Let us look into this, see if we can make it work. Well, That was February. Fast forward to today, they're still looking. Now, here's the offer on the table from Smithbridge at this moment. Smithbridge offers to pay for the $500 fee to see whether we're eligible and the $2,000 fee to actually fill out the grant and apply for it if we are eligible. Smithbridge is offering to pay for that and not have it part of those mitigation costs that are eventually offset by rent. This is why we need the property. We need those 5 acres as soon as we possibly can. You're missing out on 5 acres times $1,100 per month extra rent. So this way we can move ahead together. And if you agree with this little sidebar to our original agreement where it said everything we do in mitigation, that you approve, we will get back in rent offset. If you agree that we could just go ahead and do this on our own, we'd like to do it and get this game rolling. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Swavely. Gita, can you weigh in?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, anything that a tenant is willing to front the cost on, and it doesn't become a cost out of ancestral lands in the land bank. Gita would always say that that's a good thing. Still ancestral's discretion as it's their property, but if in any situation, if a tenant is willing to front, to bear the cost of, a survey or, studies, then in general, Gita would recommend, that it's good.
I agree. Okay. Questions for Mr. Swavely? Board members?
Yeah. What is the monthly rent again? From Smithbridge? How much?
$1,100 a month per acre.
So that's 5,000 plus, right?
It is
It
5,000.
says 5 acres. 5 acres.
Correct.
And the offset would amount to approximately $3,000. Close.
Well, we have not agreed on the offset account. The way the contract is set up is that we will, with your approval at every step of the way, we will investigate exactly what the contamination consists of, exactly how much is there, and exactly how we clean the property. You may or may not like that final cost, in which case it's your prerogative to say go or don't go. But this at least gets us started with some grant investigation.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Okay, Madam Secretary.
Can we please have the kind of that, this request in writing? And if we can get the final figures on how much it's gonna cost, so that, when these things are done and final figures are made, then bring it back up to the board for approval.
I don't think it involves any cost on the ancestral land side. Gita, do we need to have this in writing?
It doesn't hurt. All Smithbridge is asking for is, essentially what they're asking the commission right now is, is it okay if they use their own money to, to do the study and apply for a grant? They could always, you could just approve that now, and then
yeah,
have,
I think it's a no-brainer. Just my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, for record's sake, Smithbridge, can submit their formal letter through us, at least just as a, just as for record keeping purposes. That
okay, so they haven't presented that in writing to you.
No, it's they wanted to see if they could get your your approval on the idea of using their own money to improve the property. So if it's if it's okay with the commission, then just for record keeping sake, then they could submit a letter and ask for confirmation.
Yeah, okay, I agree. Sounds good. Can we get the other board members to weigh in?
I agree. Paper trail is always important.
Yep.
Commissioner
And,
Westling had their hand up, Mr. Chair.
Okay, let's see, let me go to the proper page here. Okay, Commissioner Westling?
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Swavely, if this request could be put in writing, I think that will help for the board to move along, on the request. But I can't help but ask, and forgive me for not remembering the name of of this grant, the
Brownsfield.
Brownsville. Okay, thank you. You know, the board's been hearing about this grant application for months, well over a year. And I just have to ask, and my impression was that was always in the works. So I'm hearing differently now. Has it been basically this fee that has held up the cost of the application fees for the grant? Is that what the holdup has been, and that this grant application really hasn't been rolling?
Well, Commissioner, if you don't mind, Dan, I'll just chime in on that one.
Please.
Sure.
Yeah, Guam EPA is the GovGuam agency conduit through which any of the other agencies would apply for in this grant. But that also depends on their, I don't know whether it's a top priority or back burner priority for them. What Smithbridge is proposing is that rather than wait for Guam EPA to address this on Ancestral's behalf, Smithbridge is willing to pay for and apply on its own. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Diego, I understand that part of it.
Okay.
I guess just what my impression has been, because we've heard about this grant for a very long time. I thought that was already in the works, on the roll. Things were being, processed, because whenever we would ask for an update, even prior to Smithbridge coming in, we were always told it's still being looked into. And for me, this is the first time I'm hearing about the $500 fee and the $2,500 fee. And so that's kind of coming as a shock, because I've always thought that it was in process already. And it sounds like to me that no, it hasn't been, because nobody's paid for these fees. And so now we have Mr. Swavely here before us, requesting that Smithbridge, invest their own funds. And I really appreciate that, because I see that, yes, this needs to be moved along. I'm just shocked to hear, unless I really had my head up in the clouds, that it really hasn't been in the works.
Well, that it was in the works in the sense that we were pushing it through Guam EPA. The reason being is that based on the lease agreement, if Smithbridge expends any funds, then it would be offset in their rental payments. So
that part I understand. So thank you for that clarification. And then Mr. Swavely, if you could just put the request in writing so that the board can act accordingly. We really appreciate that.
Happy to. Thank you, commissioners.
Diego, real quick, regarding the Brownsville grant, I was taking it that basically that you were doing the service for us by applying for that on basically our behalf, right? And basically you're absorbing whatever cost that's involved in it, correct?
Well, just like I said earlier, Mr. Chair, GovGuam applying for still has to go through. If it's a GovGuam agency applying for, we would go through Guam EPA, and they in turn
But
would.
what I'm saying is basically, Gita, you're as our property manager and our partner in this. Basically, you're the one that's pursuing this, and at your cost. Am I right, or am I just like Commissioner Westling is saying? Am I the wrong frame of mind with that?
I'm not sure how to answer, sir.
Because what,
mean,
what I'm
it's not-
seeing
it's-
is I'm seeing is that Smith Bridge is basically going to take it upon themselves and apply. So there's a cost.
Yes,
So then if you were doing it for us, right, there was no cost per se.
yes. And the way that we would do it for you is to work through,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, I see. Okay. So
Yeah.
so then I'm in the right frame of mind then. So basically Smith Bridge is gonna take it upon themselves and
moving
bear
forward.
the cost of the application for the grant. Whereas Ancestral Lands, when we were doing it, we were not doing any expenditures for that. It was basically GITA on our behalf.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, the
So,
bottleneck is
I
with
guess,
EPA.
Yeah. EPA.
And they
just-
owe us,
Okay.
I
So
just
and
didn't want to put another agency under the bus, but you know,
okay. Okay. So Mr. Swavely, let's move and go ahead and that sounds real good. Go ahead and just put it in writing with GITA. And I guess we'll take it from there and it's good to go.
Roger that. Thank you. We're on it.
Okay. No further questions for Mr. Swavely and GITA on this? Okay. Si Jules Masi, Mr. Swavely, for your the information
Very
and
well.
your presentation before the board. And Gita, is that going to do it for your presentation? I mean, your report?
Yes, this concludes our report.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Pearson is here from Transsteel. He submitted his letter.
Okay, and that definitely
And,
will fall under Gita, correct? We're still under Gita with that. So okay. Shall we move with Mr. Pearson? You would need to unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Chairman and Vice Chairs and Commissioner and Board Member. This is John Pearson. I haven't heard from you guys for a long time, and I've been going off island to engage in several projects back and forth, and I just recently came back and due to my medical reason, and I'm out in Korea right now. I'm going through some physical checkups and diabetes, of course, ongoing diabetes. So I did submit the letter indication of that I will be taking care of that area by 2025, probably earlier than that, most likely, to complete the area and also ongoing payment in up-to-date situation. So I'm humbly asking you guys, I'm humbly asking board members to approve that so I can continue to do the work and skip over the payment.
Okay, so you're proposing that in 2025 you would
Yes,
have
sir.
your you would catch up with all your arrears
Of course, together with the current payments.
and while continuing current payment. Are you talking? What did you give a date, a timeline in 2025?
End of 2025. And then before end of 2025.
Okay, so basically we're still looking at about 2.5 years.
I would I'm gonna be going back to other island for another project that by September. The reason I'm here in Korea is to try to gather up some material and the tools and things that I'm gonna be needing for the project. After the project completion, which is going to take about 3 to 5 months, then I will try to come up with another lump sum payment. The only reason I didn't indicate that is because I don't know how things going to be worked out, but I'm going to keep pushing for the project to try to come up with more payment for the GIDA situation. And that's
Okay,
what- yeah.
okay, understood. Board members?
I got a
Any
question, Mr. Pearson.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Mr. Pearson.
Vice Chair.
Mr. Pearson, according to our reports that we've been hearing from GIDA, our partners, they have indicated that you have been currently doing work in Samoa or some other where you're working to do some salvaging work. Have you been attaining revenue as a result of that work that you are away from our island?
Yes. I've been working with the Marshall Island.
Marshall, okay, sorry.
Marshall power plant demolitions. One of a Chinese company called Sinosol has contract me to come in to do the work for the demolition of the power plant. And then I even when I left last year, November 23rd, and I was engaged in doing some work there. And the only problem that I was encountered was the supply, which has been arranged by the general contractor. The material wasn't available on February, so I had to stop, continue doing the work, and came back, and I went through like 4 different COVID situations in that area also. My health issue was terrible, and finally, I just found out that from last month that general contractor is providing me with the all the material that I'm going to be needing up there, and it's already been on island, and then ready for me to come in back to and do some work. The only obstacle that I have is I have to work between in Marshall Island they have a four generator, and two is out of commission, and I've been working on those 2 engine, and then the 2 is still active, and I've been requesting for them to turn the 1 and 2 engine off so I can continue to do all the demolition work without delaying. But up to this point, that MUC hasn't turned off the number one and number 2 engines, still using their power to generate the power to the island. So that's a scenario that I'm looking at. That's I'm according to the MUC personnel, they'll be turn that number 1 and number 2 engine within a couple of weeks. So once that engine is turned off, then I'll be heading back to the Marshall Island and continue to do the work on the demolition part there.
Okay. One final question, Mr. Diego. What is the balance for Trans-Steel that he currently owes?
9,500, sir.
Okay. And just for the record, I think that 2025 is too long of a time to allow you to catch up on your payments, and I think that we should be more restrictive, and you make more effort, Mr. Pearson, to pay up your debt, please.
Well, yeah. Well, I 2025. I'll just being in very safe side. But the reason I put 2025 in 2025 is just to pay off all the arrears. That I'm just being very comfortable for that time period. But of course, once I start gathering up the income to pay the arrear, I'm willing to take care of that and sooner. That's my commitment. Only unfortunately, I wasn't able to do anything because I have to stop doing the demolition work in Marshall Island because due to the fact that their material situation and tool situation and has been resolved, and I'll be heading back there, and once I generate income, I will be putting down pretty much a lump sum payment toward the area. That's something that I'm really planning on doing it.
Okay, and one more, Mr. Chairman. Now, when you talk about the work that you're doing in the Marshall Islands, I know it's a demolition. Included in the demolition is the scrap metal export. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you do generate revenue in regards to that, or else you wouldn't be there to do that type of
Exactly,
work.
sir. Right. The project cost, the demolition project cost involved, that includes the removing of the decommissioned generator from the Marshall Island. That also rely upon the situation of the shipping costs and current market on the scrap metals, which is consists out from the generator. The market is not really beneficial right now, but I do have a lump sum contract amount of money that coming in from the general contractor once I start perform the phase by phase.
Yeah. So that you did win a bid for that contract, correct?
Yes, sir.
I would like to see the copy of that contract. Okay, go ahead. Very well.
Commissioner Westlake?
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Pearson, thank you very much for appearing today before the commission at our meeting. And Transsteel has often, all the time, every meeting that we've had, we've always questioned our property managers for a status update. And while I empathize truly with the current economic conditions of your business and that of our entire island, I can't help though, but not find your current proposal with me personally as being totally acceptable. And I'm sorry to have to say that. I believe this commission, we really rally behind our tenants and we support them as much as we can. But the fact cannot be ignored that that you are 19 months behind in your payments, and your current proposal will put us out another two and a half years before the arrears would be satisfied. In the grand scheme of things, a $9,500 debt for a business is not a large amount. And my fear is that there may be some future unexpected things that could turn this arrears amount into something much larger, which would make things more difficult for you and certainly keep the commission in our current precarious situation of allowing the debt to go on for such a long time. As a business person, I encourage you highly, strenuously, that you investigate all possible means that are available to you, whether it be SBA loans, business loans through the bank, a line of credit, an advance lump sum payment from your general contractor, that you explore all these possibilities soon, hopefully in the next 30 days, to see what you have available to you so that this arrears amount is not held out for another 2.5 years. As my quick computations show, that if you were to go on that path of paying, becoming current by the end of 2025, that you should be paying at least $1,000 a month beginning to this month to do this. But again, I am not in support of an extension quite that long, and I strenuously request of you to explore other means of financing so that you can pay this amount down much sooner. And if you could do that in the next 30 days, I personally would appreciate that and would like to hear back from you at our next meeting next month. Can you do this, Mr. Pearson?
Yes, I do understand that, and Well, one thing, I would like to, I know this is, no matter what, this is my responsibility, but the amount that earlier was established, incurred from the, when we went to the COVID situation, that's the amount that is be accumulated, it came up to $9,000. So I'm trying to see, after the COVID, we went through the economic failures, and we went through a lot of disturbance on the how the starting up the new business, and now I'm beginning to do that. And of course, I do understand the when you look at it, it's like 2025 seems to be a very long time, but my target is to try to come up with the payment before, prior, earlier than that. But only that, like I explained to you, the reason I put 2025 into it, and I just want to be more comfortable with it, but I'll still have to survive with what I'm established with taking care of my family and all that. But I will go and look into it. I understand you, man, and then I try to see if I can find other way of bringing some more income and try to come up with some sort of a lump sum payment. I cannot guarantee how much is that going to be, but I would try to come up with a lump sum payment to release down the total area amount by next month somehow. I would try to do that. Okay, and then yes, I do understand. I do fear that the situation that I got caught in is not. It's kind of I don't know what to say, but I tried my I must try this if I can. Payment.
Okay, Mr. Cho, I appreciate that. And at this point, this is what I ask of you. And please understand, I believe, that we have a duty to the stakeholders, okay, and the dispossessed owners, as far as managing these properties and renting, and leases and things of that nature. And so we've already come under severe scrutiny. And I'm sorry, and I would like to, just see some resolution and an end to this, and something much more concrete.
Yes.
And so I appreciate your willingness to do what I've asked, and so I look forward to hearing back from you next month in 30 days. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay, Vice Chair.
Yeah, also Mr. Pearson and Diego. I know in the past we have tried to communicate with you, and we weren't able to receive or hear any reply from you due to the fact that you're off island. We would like to ensure that the communications be open with our partner, with GITA, along with the Lands Commission, because I understand you'll be leaving again shortly. So we want to ensure that you maintain communication with us. And I am also in agreement with Commissioner Wesley that even at your rate with your business, this is a business that you are operating, and I feel that it's your diligent duty to pay your outstanding due. 9,000 doesn't seem to be a big amount. You probably even get a personal loan to get on that and clear that, because we don't want to keep dragging on, as Commissioner Westling has indicated. This has gone for too long already.
Yes, I understand. Yes, sir.
Okay. So make sure you communicate with our partners and provide an email contact number.
Yes, sir. I will do that.
And email, and please reply. Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Mr. Pearson, we hope to see you next month with a more acceptable extension for your arrears.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I understand. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Gita. I guess we're gonna move down now to
You're on mute, Mr. Chairman.
okay, we're gonna move down now to the next item, which is still with Gita, Northern Market.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to have you recognize that Commissioner Rios has been logged in.
Okay, noted. Welcome, Commissioner Rios.
Oh. All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Gonna get this this thing rolling. My boss, Director Melanie is also online waiting to do her part. So moving on with Northern Market now. In the last meeting, you know, the legal counsel had raised concerns with, you know, raised concerns with the way forward, you know, as far as like joint ventures. So what we did was we took a look at the RFP as well as the lease to see what is allowed. And what is allowed is still participation rent. So participation rent is allowed in the original RFP, and it is also a part of the existing lease. Right now, the participation rent on Northern Market's lease is at 2.5%. However, you know, based on the happenings of over the past year, you know, Northern Market has agreed to 50% of participation rent as opposed to 2.5. So in order to keep the RFP as well as the lease intact, then you know, what we're going to propose is an amendment to the participation rent portion of the existing lease so that nothing else changes and everything else stays the same. Where we're at today, like I said, Northern Market is willing to do a 50% participation rent, which Gita believes is a good thing for Ancestral in the long run. Now, and Northern Market has communicated that their pro forma projections are at approximately $200,000 a month when they're fully operational. Now, this would translate to payments to Ancestral of approximately $100,000, which is 50%, plus their monthly lease rents for the rest of the life of the lease. If this goes through, then that means all arrears in the long run will be completely settled within a matter of 3 years. However, Gita, primarily myself and Mr. Ed Camacho, Gita's business development manager, we're still advocating on behalf of the GALC for the arrears and current rent to at least be partially addressed throughout the construction of all 3 phases. And both Mr. Camacho and I, we have several options or, you know, suggested approaches to do this. But what we would like to add is to schedule working sessions with you, with the chairman, vice chair, and I remember Commissioner Westling was wanting to be a part of that, you know, so that we can go over all the details of both what Ed and I have come up with, and to see what's, you know, what the commission would be acceptable, so that we can take it to you know, we can negotiate it with Northern Market. So if it's okay with the commission, if we could schedule working sessions with you to go over the details of what Ed and I have come up with, you know, we're willing to go within the next week or 2 weeks, whatever is doable as far as scheduling.
I'll make myself available.
Okay,
Same here, Mr. Same here.
You guys named the day because we were waiting. Basically, the time was given to Gita so that you guys could get all the ducks in order. So
yes,
yeah, I to tell me when you'd like to do this, and I'll be there.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Westing. I guess we'll work it through Director Birch, you know, to make the schedule and contact you all, and you know,
Sounds
so we
good.
can, yeah, if we really want to get this thing you know, put to bed already, and I can't thank Ed Camacho enough for helping me do this. It was like a double-edged sword. I asked him for ideas and I got more ideas than I know what to do with. So, maybe we can, we get the commissioners involved, and we can really narrow this down and put this to rest.
Okay, I got a quick question, Diego, real quick.
Yes, sir.
I kind of like you missed probably a little bit of the intro of what you were when you started. Did you address the issue with the legal counsel regarding the?
Yes, sir.
I think you
yes,
did,
sir.
but I didn't catch it. Can you just repeat it real quick?
Sure, no problem. Legal counsel was concerned of with regards to Northern Market that anything moving forward has to be within the parameters of the original RFP. So we took a look at the RFP as well as the existing lease. We don't want to add anything that wasn't RFP'd for. So we took a look at the original RFP, and the original RFP does call for what we refer to as participation rent, and this is in the RFP in section 4. So participation rent is called for in the RFP, and in the lease with Northern Market, Northern Market had agreed to 2.5%. So now they're agreeing to 50%, 50. So so we believe that this is participation rent is allowed. It is allowed in the RFP because it calls out for it, as well as the existing lease. There is participation rent in section 4 of the original lease. So this way, by doing it with participation rent, now this would mean that Ancestral is not a equity owner. However, participation rent does allow for revenue sharing. So there, so Northern Market, at least so far,
So
is comfortable.
Yeah, so it kind of like keeps it legal, kind of like the original proposal, but now it's doing it in the framework with the participation rent, and it's legal.
Yes, it's within the parameters of the original RFP as well as the existing lease that's already been signed. So participation.
Okay, great.
Because in the last meeting we were talking about the possibilities of equity ownership, equity partners, but based on legal counsel's comments, we were like, okay, let's take one step back and see how we can keep this within the confines and parameters of the RFP. Since the RFP, both the RFP and the existing lease, calls for participation rent, then that's still an avenue that we could use in order to get 50% of the revenue.
Okay, so Juz Masi, thank you, man. I guess our legal counsel is going to basically is aware of what's going on. So let's see how we can move forward this. Could I get any other members from the board to see if they would like to participate in this working session? Angie? Madam Secretary? And let's see if we can still keep it with the confines of the open government law without having to break any laws regarding that working session.
I will join this working session with respect to the participation rent, which is fine. That is allowed for, and in fact, that's a very common commercial type provision in a lease. So just to be clear, you're going to go from 2.5% rent to 50% rent, participation rent. So it's an increase.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's allowed. You cannot decrease, like you couldn't go down to 1%, for example, without breaking the procurement law, but nothing prevents an increase. So, okay, that's fine. If you need or want me to join in this work session, I'm happy to do so. Just let me know.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Diego, effective when is the participation rate to take place?
Well, that's why we wanted to call for a work, ask the commission
all
for
right.
a working session, sir. Because I got a number of ideas, and So does Gita's business development manager, Mr. Ed Camacho. So, we're gonna, the two of us will come together and, pitch it to you and see which of our several options would be agreeable. So if it's okay with you, we'll schedule that through Director Birch.
Okay, I'd just like to bring up again the request for the other members if they'd like to participate in this working session. Angie or Madam Secretary, and of course to Commissioner Lino, who's having problems logging on, but notwithstanding any open government laws being broken, I would appreciate as much input with this, especially with Commissioner Camacho and Madam Secretary, and of course Commissioner Lino. So the invitation is there. Legal counsel, if there's no objections to that.
No, I have no objection. If you are going to have more than
Four
a
will be a quorum,
yeah.
so no more than 3. We don't want a quorum.
So even when you have a work session, you still, it's still public, and we have always recommended that it be just treated like a regular board meeting, meaning you advertise and you keep it open like the way this meeting is, and that way you're safe no matter what.
Oh, I see. So even if we did have more than, a quorum or more than a quorum, it's still good on a working session.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, may I suggest then we just have a special meeting that will allow us our effort to being there.
Okay, Commissioner Camacho?
Yeah,
what do you
that'll
think?
work too.
Yeah, okay, Commissioner Camacho?
I thought we created a special group for this Northern Market issue. Didn't we create a special group, kind of like we have the investment
Yes, we
committee?
did. I just wanted to extend the courtesy to others that maybe you that wanted to be part of it, considering the gravity of the gravity of this. That's why I just wanted to give the courtesy to other board members on this particular case.
Is it a working session or a special meeting?
I thought this
Apparently
was supposed to be a working session. Working session.
Yeah.
Yeah, so less than quorum, my understanding is what we're doing. And that whoever comes.
Yes,
the 3 that come to this meeting will then report to the commission as a whole.
Okay, I just let me clarify real quick. I just wanted to do the courtesy because of the like I said, the gravity of the situation. Just to extend the offer to other members, especially those who are very adept at this type of thing. But sure, we could just keep it to the working session that we did form. But I just wanted to extend that invitation to the rest of the board members outside of that. So our legal counsel said it's okay if we did publish the working session. So that option is there for you if you want to participate. If not, we can go ahead and just have the working session as normal. That's just my intent. Okay. So just let us know. Doesn't have to be now, it can be anytime. So let's set that the day for the working session. We'll still call it a working session. Our vice chair did request a special meeting, but director, let's look into that and see whether it should be a special meeting or working session, or
we would have a special meeting if you were if there was going to be any discussion of taking action on any or making a decision. Work sessions, we can't make any decisions. We simply work through the details to present to the board itself at a regular meeting or a special meeting.
Yeah, that's right. Vice Chair, you okay with that? We'll just keep it a working session. That way we just come up with the information and then we'll bring it up to the board with what we come up with. Then with the board, we can make the decision. We're good with that?
Yeah, I think that was the request from Gita. And so far, what I see is we have Vice Chair Laguardia, Commissioner Westling, Attorney Miller, and from Gita, Mr. Camacho, and Diego, and of course the staff here from Ancestral Lands will be in attendance to get the details completed.
Okay, our vice chair is back. Vice Chair, we're going to go ahead and move towards just sticking with the working session. That way, we're just going to basically just discuss and maybe come to an agreement, and then we could probably bring that to the board later and make an approval or whatever the decision the
Okay.
working session comes up with.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I guess that would be also via Zoom, like I suppose, okay?
Via Zoom or
Yes, I prefer via Zoom.
Okay.
We could set it up to include Zoom. I know Gita and Ancestral Lands will be face to face with most likely Attorney Miller.
Okay.
Yes, to be face to face, and
Yeah. And
But-
I preferred to be face to face in this working
Yes.
session.
Same here. But Vice Chair, you have the option
Yeah.
of coming
Yeah,
in
okay.
on a Zoom.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay. Okay, so let's move with setting the date, Director, for the working session. And then just give us the the mutual agreement on the date, and then we'll be there. Let's make it not this week, sometime next week. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
yes, any preference at this point, or I'll sit down with Gita and we'll work out the date and the time.
And then let us know. Yes.
Okay, so we'll do that. Okay, Diego, so you and I will decide the date and time, and we'll inform the others and see if we'll make sure everybody's available.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Fine with me.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so just Masi, no further questions. Let's move on down to thank you again, Gita. We'll move down now to item 7, new business, proposed legislation, Guam Public Hospital and Medical Complex. Director?
Okay, we don't at this time, Mr. Chair, have any proposed legislation before us. Before they can do that, they would need to have the appraisal done to get a value for the property. And before the appraisal can be done, the survey has to be completed. The survey, to my understanding, is ongoing at this time, but because of the rain, there's been delays. So we don't have any proposed legislation at this time.
Okay, so we'll move down to B.
Okay, that's Gita with the investment policy statement. I know the Gita administrator, Mel Mandiola, is here.
Okay.
I'll
Hey,
turn it over
buenas.
to her.
Long
Hi,
time.
buenas. Good afternoon. I know it's been a minute since I've seen all of you. There was a typhoon that hit our island, and I had my own little typhoon that hit my house. Her name is Ismaela, and she was born in May.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
You now have
Congratulations.
two.
Joining me to talk about the investment to speak on this, I have a number of individuals. I have from Gita, Ariana Villaverde. I'm sure, I think you're familiar with her family, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes.
And let me see, we also have our investment advisors joining us from both Raymond James. We have Jason Miashta and Amanda Gima. And then from BGIS, we have Alexandra Leon Guerrero, as well as Marie Scrow. And so I do have just a short PowerPoint just to help us guide discussion. And then our investment advisors can answer any questions that you have. And what will happen is in future investment committee meetings, it'll look very much like your real property report, where there will be a report that will be provided by Gita. So not as extensive as as the discourse and the discussion today. But I think the more time that goes by, you'll get comfortable and you'll enjoy it. And then, you'll feel comfortable to ask questions. So let me go ahead and share my screen just a moment. Okay, so this is our August investment committee report. So I wanted to walk you through this journey that has brought us to where we are today. So the discussion began in 2022, the fiscal year 2022, that we should work together to utilize our investment advisors to help you invest and get a better return on your land bank trust monies. So in 2022, we executed a memorandum of understanding. And then in 2023, February, what's called the investment policy statement was adopted during the February board meeting. We then placed some of your assets with BGIS and Raymond James. With each of these financial institutions, instructed them to start off just investing in very, very conservative investments. And then in March, an additional sum of money was invested in both. And then where we are today is, so since then, there's been investment committee meetings. And just to remind you, the GALC investment committee meeting is hosted by a member of our board, Director Jun Espaldon. He's the chair of our investment committee. It is Commissioner Cruz, Commissioner Angie Camacho, and Director Birch have participated in the investment committee meetings. There's quite a bit of training, quite a bit of discussion that takes place during these meetings. And we work with our financial advisors to discuss opportunities and how our investments are doing and discuss any forward movement. So the current asset allocation. So what does asset allocation mean? Let's dial it back for just a minute, right? Because we're starting from a position of the most conservative, which is saving, putting your money in the bank. What we ended up doing was we shifted the money in recent months to TCDs, certificates of deposit, at these respective financial institutions. We were getting excellent coupon rates, excellent maturities of approximately 5%, an average of around 4 to 5%, 4.5 to 5 point. I see all the way like to 5.3 or so %, significantly higher than what we were getting in our bank account. In addition, all these TCDs are being placed at individual FDIC insured institutions. So all of this money was protected as well. However, one thing we're at risk of at this point in time is that the rates are expected to start to come down. So what that means is we'll no longer be seeing 5% TCDs. TCDs will start to go down, and your investment advisors can speak to that more in detail. And so something that GITA does, and something that we certainly encourage the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission to do, is to look at an asset allocation that's balanced and made up of equities, fixed income, and cash equivalents. So when I say equities, what I mean are stocks, fixed income, bonds, and cash equivalents. TCDs are considered cash equivalent. What it means, it can be converted to cash very easily. The market doesn't fluctuate the value of that investment. Okay. But how do we hold stocks, bonds, and cash? Now, of course, you can get on the phone. You know, you see in the movies, these guys get on the phone and they say, buy Google, buy Google. And then they get on the phone the next day and they say, sell Google. And that's kind of dramatic. And that's not really in line with the fiduciary responsibilities that we all have, right? Although, you know, it is possible. You can hold stocks and investments individually. You can hold bonds individually. You can call and say, I want the California pension bond maturing in 20. I mean, but that's a lot, right? And so what most institutions do is they do what are called pooled investments, meaning you put it all together. So you buy a fund, and this fund is made up of 100 stocks, and the 100 stocks include 100 of the largest companies in the S&P 500, 500 companies. And you have the largest companies in America, such as Google, and so on and so forth, right? And usually these investments that are pooled, why do we pool them? We pool them, number one, for money saving, right? So you're not, but mostly you pool them to spread out risk. And you pull them to get the stress off your plate. So you're not saying, buy Google, sell Google, buy Amazon, sell Amazon. We're not doing all that. we're letting the professionals pool our investments and we're letting them manage according to whatever our objective is. They report to us how they're doing, and then we say, you're doing a good job, you're doing a bad job, so on and so forth. Similar to how we work with, how the Guam Ancestral works with Diego and company. Diego reports to you, here's a summary of what's going on. You say, Diego, I don't like this. Diego, I like that. And he adjusts his behavior accordingly, right? So pooled investments and investment managers, this is what GIDA's accounts utilize. We utilize investment managers, and our investment managers have different objectives. So we say, but back to asset allocation. Within US equity, we'll say, we want, what kind of investment managers are we going to get in this US equity, US stocks, right? And then this is where investment advisors are going to tell us, you're going to get large companies called large cap. You're going to get smaller companies called small cap. You're going to get technology driven, only tech. This is an investment manager that only does tech. This is an investment manager that only does real estate. And then our investment advisors manage those investments, and they say, technology is doing poorly. We're going to get rid of that. We're more bullish. They use the word bull. Bull means aggressive. Bear means not aggressive. They're kind of retreating, right? Like how a bear, hibernates for the winter, and a bull charges forward, right? What are we bullish on today versus what are we bearish on, right? So that's how the running of these investments are going to go. So this brings us to the role of the investment committee. Now you have two very brilliant volunteers who volunteered for were voluntold for the investment committee. The role of the investment committee is education. So they take on the bulk of the stress and the bulk of the thinking and helping to understand the difference between large cap and small cap and ETFs and investment managers. So you don't have to. The investment committee are responsible for managing and maintaining the investment portfolio as dictated by the IPS, the investment policy statement that you adopted back in February. So the IPS is the roadmap. The investment committee is steering that roadmap. They're making sure we're adhering to the roadmap and providing recommendations, right? So I believe today what the board is, what the investment committee is looking at doing is you have an IPS that was provided to you in your board packets. There are multiple, there's an appendix in the end that sets forth different asset allocation strategies. What transpired at the last investment committee meeting was that this board, although we want to maximize, although this commission wants to maximize return, this commission is very, very risk averse. And as such, would be much more comfortable with a conservative allocation, meaning conservative, meaning all of this green is fixed income. This is bonds and cash equivalents. And the smaller piece of the pie is equities, US stocks and non-US stocks, right? If this was an aggressive portfolio, on the other hand, you'd see the reverse. You'd see, instead of this big piece being dedicated to bonds and cash, you'd see this big piece being dedicated to stocks. So instead you have the reverse. You have this big piece being, and what you can do as time goes by is, so our recommendation is we discuss on a quarterly basis. You invite all these, don't do it monthly because the market is it's volatile, it goes up and down. And you have a lot on your plates. We've seen that in today's agenda alone. So it's good to review your investments approximately every 3 months. I'm going to show you, do you see, let me see. Do you see this PDF, the GIDA report, or do I need to switch the screen share to this?
We can see the PDF, but not what's in
beautiful.
right now.
The PDF that says investment committee. So basically, this is the GIDA investment report that we get on a quarterly basis, where we say, this is when we had all our meetings.
Now you have to switch screens.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
we only see the PDF right now. We don't
We only
see,
see the PowerPoint right now. Okay,
yeah.
hang on one moment, please. Okay, can you see the PDF, the GITA Investment Committee report?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay,
central
so now-
issues right there. Okay.
So now this is where you see, this is what we use every quarter at the GITA board meeting. At the GITA board meeting, our investment committee chair says, this is how much our money's worth. This is our year-to-date performance. So our year-to-date, our second quarter total market value ending 17.9 million. Year-to-date performance is 7.5%. Asset allocation, remember I said conservative, moderate, aggressive. We're a little bit more aggressive. We have 74% in stocks, 24% in bonds, and 3% in cash. So 3% in like TCDs. These are all the meetings, the key meetings. These are all the investment committee meetings we've had. As you can see, we have them every couple of months. We don't have them every month. We have them. And then these are some highlights of what's going on. In this particular one, it says international equities and infrastructure perform well. Long-term performance is strong. And action items for the board, adopt the updated IPS. And then we do this for bank BGIS. We also have a similar looking report for Raymond James. So to close out my short report today, and let me get back to my, let me get back to the screen. Just a moment, please. I'm sorry, just give me 1 second. So to close out my portion, and then to, of course, open it up for your questions that may be addressed to me or to our investment advisors. Back to this, your IPS includes an appendix, and the appendix includes asset allocation recommendations. The discourse and the discussion in the investment committee was that GALC is more concerned with the safety of these assets and the preservation of these assets than we are with short-term growth. I would also recommend, so that's the voting action that you would need to consider today. But the quarterly report, that's something just for discussion, and you guys can share what you're comfortable with. And then at every quarter, someone from GITA, either myself or Ariana, will come and we'll provide the written report to you for your board packet. And then your investment advisors your investment advisors are also standing by to answer your questions. And so that is all I have for you today.
Thank you, Melanie. That was very informative. Appreciate it very much. Okay, did you run through the proposal there? That the one on the right of my screen, that's a proposal. The one that showed the allocations. You're on mute.
Yes, so if you go to your investment policy statement, actually, let me go ahead and have our investment advisors chime in with the appendix to explain the appendix that's included in the IPS.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, that's the one. And to explain, and then from there you can make the call as to a conservative. If you concur with the investment committee, and Commissioner Camacho and Commissioner Cruz, did I miss anything? Does that sound about right? That I think at the conclusion of the investment committee meeting, we said we'd like to press forward with the conservative allocation. We'd like the board to vote on the IPS with the conservative model, and then from there off to the races, and we'll do quarterly reports. So maybe the first question is, how do you guys feel about quarterly reports? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. That's great. Yeah.
I agree. I'm fine with that.
Yes.
Beautiful. But yeah, do you want to have, let me see, Alexandra or Jason, do you want to chime in with the IPS discussion?
Commissioner Westling, did you have any comment? Okay. Real quick though, Melanie, regarding your question to the committee members, Cruz and Camacho, did she miss anything, or was she on point with everything? Okay. Okay. So let's continue. Melanie, you said let's continue. Let's continue.
Yes, so the board action for today, I do believe, is if you look at the appendix item or the appendix in your IPS, your investment policy statement that was provided in your board packet. Let me know if you need me to share my screen to pull up the IPS.
Commissioners, if you have that, it's submitted to you. She's talking, Mel's talking about pages 16 and beyond.
So
Okay, Melanie,
17, 18.
yeah, why don't you pull it up, and then can you just go ahead and hold it on?
The director, Mr. Chairman, I'm in favor of the conservative approach as we're currently at right now. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, apparently there's a new conservative.
No, that's the conservative model that you have right now that is being proposed in the IPS. So the appendix. So currently what you have is 100% cash. And by cash, what we mean are TCDs, cash and cash equivalents, which equal money market, savings account, TCDs. The conservative allocation is set forth in the appendix. Let me see, page 617, right here. Appendix A and Appendix B, right? So the conservative model has approximately 30% in stock, 21% in US, 9% non-US, and 70% in fixed income. And 70%, and investment advisors, please chime in here if I'm wrong. Fixed income is inclusive of what you currently have, which is TCDs, cash and cash equivalents, in addition to bonds. So so Commissioner LaGuardia, earlier you said, I'm in favor of what we have right now. What you have right now is you don't have an asset allocation model. You just have everything in cash, right?
Okay.
And so what was discussed was we'd like to get some exposure to equity to get some good returns, but we'd still like to protect and hedge, protect the downside by continuing to have some cash. So now what's going on with this is that the value will fluctuate. It'll go up and down as the market ebbs and flows, as there's ups and downs in the markets. But because you have a conservative model, it's not so dramatic as you might see in an aggressive or moderate portfolio. So moderate portfolio is about 50-50, 50% in cash and fixed income and 50% in stocks. And the reason why we said that, Commissioner LaGuardia, to answer your question, is 5% sounds like an amazing deal with TCDs. TCDs are protected, they're FDIC insured, and you're getting a nice, good return. Right. But this is not expected to continue. The Fed is expected to continue to cut rates. You notice how your mortgage, if you look at, I don't know if anyone here has looked into doing a mortgage. Mortgage rates right now are like 7.8% or something crazy like that. Why? Because the Fed keeps on hiking up the interest rates to tighten the economy, right? What'll happen is the Fed will start to lower the interest rate. But what is going to happen is along with that, when they start lowering the interest rate, what you'll start seeing is your TCDs will start yielding less. So instead of getting 5.5, you're going to start getting 3, you're going to start getting 2, you're going to start getting 1. And that's when, it's just not going to look as pretty. And so what we'd like to strive for, so as you can see in the IPS, what we're striving for with a conservative model is an annual return of 4.5%. So what does that mean? An annual return averaging 4.5 means some years are going to be better. Some years will be 6. Some years will be worse. Some years will be 2 or negative. you know, but for the most part, over time, you're striving for 4.5%.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you have any questions for the investment advisors, or did I miss? I mean, I do want to make sure that the investment advisors, if they chime in on anything that you know, that I may have missed or not covered. Alexandra or Jason.
Ali, no, it's Marie. Good afternoon, everyone. So just like Mel mentioned, that the valuations or the performance of equities and fixed income can be higher or lower in any given period. Over time, we do expect this 4.5% over the long term. Is similar to how CD rates have spiked in the last 2 years. 2 years ago, you could get a CD at probably 0.25% or 0.5% at most. But because of the spike in interest rates, we're now at a little over 5%, and that's going to come back down. So that's not sustainable. But CDs also fluctuate in value. So, you know, all investments they go through their cycles.
So that 4.5%, is that in a given time frame, or is that just any time frame?
It is a target return over time. So right now we have a time horizon, you can see, of greater than 5 years. So we're projecting we're going to stay invested for a 5-year period. And over that 5-year period, we would expect an average return of the 4.5%.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you look at the IPS on page 16, I believe this is the first portion of the appendix is BGIS, and the second portion of the appendix is Raymond James. Jason, did you want to chime in on this portion?
So I'll talk on behalf of Raymond James.
Okay.
This is Amanda. Good afternoon, everybody. So this is a very conservative allocation. And what we've done is we've broken it down into 2 different funds. We're proposing that we start off, especially in the volatile interest rate environment that we're in, with $3 million, which is going to be a little bit over $3 million into our UMA model portfolio, which is a conservative 30% equities and then 70% fixed income. We're really expecting a return of around 4%. Over the long term, this portfolio does take a core satellite approach. So most of our equity portion and some of our fixed income is going to be full ETFs with the satellite approach of going into active management, because we really do believe in active management, especially in the bond space. We also have, just to take advantage of
Amanda, I think
we lost her.
We lost you. I think what Amanda was going to say is they also want to take advantage of short-term high interest rates, and that's why they're still recommending some cash preservation, meaning we still maintain a position in TCDs. But I'll wait for her to.
I'm here. Excuse me. Sorry. Good afternoon, commissioners. Can you guys see me and hear me?
Right now we're still on the screen. With I think Melanie.
Okay, no worries. So this is Jason Miashta again from Raymond James.
There you go. Okay.
There you go. So what Amanda had mentioned was that we actually are proposing a conservative profile to start out with. I mean, August, September, going October tend to be a pretty volatile months in the markets. We're actually expecting a 5 to 10% pullback in the equity market. So yes, it's a good time to invest in these pullbacks. But we want to start you off slower and really more of a get your feet wet with conservative, and maybe in the future add a little bit more risk going into next year. Reason being is that we are bullish next year on fixed income and even equities. But for the remainder of the year, we're expecting the markets to pull back because it's had such a great run over these last 2 quarters, actually 3 quarters since fourth quarter of last year, that it has to cool down. Any healthy market just doesn't go up. So we were looking at the $3 million to start out with conservative, keep the $4 billion that we have already in CDs earning 5.5%. And what you'll see is we're going to start to make recommendations after this next 2 quarters to take it up a notch, to go a little bit more risky. Once we get a better feel that the Fed will start decreasing interest rates, as we had Mel had mentioned and Marie had mentioned going into next year. And that what will do is that actually your bonds will rally, and then equities will follow suit. So, it's a little bit different approach than BGIS, but at the end of the day, it achieves the same goal where you're getting actually a higher rate of return on investment, and you're also mitigating the risk of reinvestment risk with your CDs coming down and your bonds and equities picking up next year. Does that make sense, commissioners?
Somewhat, it makes sense, but I got a couple questions real quick, and I'm sure some of the other board members regarding the risk factors and our fiduciary duty to the trust. Like, would it be more prudent for the board to stick with the cash proposal that we have in the first place, and still being more responsible with our fiduciary duty to the trust? Or are we still being prudent and responsible with this new conservative approach you are offering?
Chairman, I think that's a wonderful question.
Wait, I'm sorry, go ahead, Melanie.
I think that's a wonderful question, Mr. Chair, because I think when we're starting off, especially when we see interest rates like this, and we say, well, we're not going to lose our money on this, so I must be doing, that's the right thing to do to continue on this current trajectory, right? But what was discussed in the investment committee, and the commissioners can concur at, is that the current TCDs that are achieving 5% is not sustainable, and very likely what will happen is that these rates will come down. At that point in time, you're not losing money per se, but you are losing in the purchasing power and the ability of your account to grow and achieve the things you want it to achieve. So similar to how you have a real estate portfolio, the safest thing you can do is leave all that land undeveloped and never go out and find another tenant who may not pay you rent that you end up fighting with, like Northern Market, right? But meaning you're not going to lose, but you are going to lose because you're being so conservative and you're holding on so tight that you're losing, you're not achieving your fiduciary duty because you're not doing the very best you can to steward this to the best possible outcome. So the first priority with a conservative portfolio is protection, and that's why you have fixed income and cash. The second priority is growth, and that's where you have the stocks and the equities. So your account value going down because the market is experiencing a pullback, that's not a breach of your fiduciary duty. That's completely expected. Your fiduciary duty is to say, if these guys, if Jason and Marie are telling you, oh, no way your account's going to go down 30%, and then it goes down 30%, now your fiduciary duty is to call them on it and sue them on it or whatever, right? But if what they're sharing is what we're expecting to see is an annual return of about 4.5%, meeting your fiduciary duty is helping to adhere to that standard that you set, and you're saying we want to achieve 4.5%. We want to protect our downside as much as possible, but we also want to make sure that we're always achieving the best possible return for our constituents. Because if you leave it in TCDs, you very well could, this is what you did with your state savings account at Coast 360. And the interest rate just keeps going down and down and down and down. And then you have to ask yourself, are we doing the fiduciary thing by just leaving it be? Maybe I never lose my money, but I don't make as much as I should be making. And, I draw that parallel to real estate. It's like really leaving real estate completely undeveloped and saying, we're never going to go look for tenants because we don't want a tenant that's a bad tenant. When at the end of the day, most of our tenants are great. It's just a few that we have to work with, right? But overall, we make sure that we're holding everyone accountable. That's our job as commissioners. That's what I would be saying if I were in your seat, is our job as commissioners is to hold the professionals we hire and the people we enter into agreements, hold them accountable, right? And that's, I think, what we see here.
A couple more questions real quick. This is pertaining to both of our fund managers, BGIS and Raymond James, correct?
Yes, sir. The appendix covers a conservative model profile for both BGIS and Raymond James.
Okay, the other question is how would the public auditor look at this? Because if we did go with that.
I believe the public auditor, their main focus for us at GITA is making sure that the board meeting, the reports, everything adheres with the IPS. And so Jason and Raymond James and BGIS are not authorized to trade outside of what is allowed in the IPS. So when the auditors come in and check, what they check on is to make sure that the IPS adheres with what's going on in the monthly statements that you receive. And then if they went off the reservation and did something crazy, then they say, how did you guys decide to do that? And then let's say Jason says, well, Chairman Eklevea told me to do that. Okay, then I look at the board minutes and when did Chairman Eklevea tell you to do that? And then that's what the auditors look at, is consistency between the IPS, the statements, and the board minutes.
If I may chime in as well. Hi, this is Allie. I'm with BG Investments. We are also held to a standard from an accounting standpoint. So the Office of the Public Auditor will also examine the records, statement records, to ensure that we are in compliance with GASB, the General Accounting Standards. So this type of an investment strategy. It is not something that is a one-time thing, and I do want to be sensitive to that fact that this is the first time that these commissioners are extremely prudent, and you're acting with caution, and I want to commend you guys for that. But the strategy to shift from solely CDs or 100% CDs is made because it is in the best interest of the fund. And like to Mel's point of the CD rates not being sustainable, if you go online to FOMC, the Office of Monetary Control, the federal government has already publicly stated that they plan to reduce rates. And so therefore, next year, you're not going to have the ability to achieve this type of return. And so, like we mentioned earlier, the investment policy statement does allow for CDs when the time is right, but it also provides limitations to maximize the returns of the funds for the ultimate benefit of its beneficiaries, right? These, those that are, those landowners that are waiting to inherit the land that their ancestors were entitled to in the past. So this is acting with prudence and ensuring that we are making the right adjustments with very cautious, educated analysis, and working with you to, walk through that process. And, even, I like to joke around when I meet with clients, because I feel like people that are in my profession, they make up words that are very, very complex, but they have a very simple meaning. And so things like asset allocation, right? Things like that could basically mean don't put all of your eggs in one basket, or, interest rate risk, which is really just you don't want to lock something in for too long, because there could be some fluctuations that you could possibly take or miss an opportunity to take advantage of a higher rate. So it's things like that we're here for, to walk you through and work with the investment committee through as well. But ultimately, the investment policy is that general, and it ensures that we're complying not only with SEC guidelines, but also with what you're held to from the Office of the Public Auditor.
Understood. Thank you. Our subcommittee, or our two members that are part of the investment committee with GITA, you're both in favor of this proposal?
I am. I believe that we're receiving advice from the professionals, and based on what they see, based on what they know, this is the recommendation. My understanding is that it's time for us to look at diversifying, because CD rates are not going to perform the same way that they have. We were just fortunate at the time that we did decide to go this route, that the interest rates were higher, but it's not going to be that way. And I think of it as lost opportunities as well if we don't take their advice of the professionals. So I pretty much concur with what Gita and the two investment companies are recommending.
Thank you, Commissioner Camacho. Commissioner Cruz?
I'm the type that took us a while to even, invest. And so I don't really like changes, although it looks good. I'm just afraid of the risks, that we may be taking on these changes. So I'm gonna go with the flow based on what the report that the commissioners have received. Yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of like on the fence left and right, because when I look at there's a scripture passage where the master left some money or some coins with some of the servants, and two of the servants turned it into a good profit or something, and the other one of the servants didn't want to risk it and was afraid and took it and buried it. And when the master came back, they all presented the outcome of the funds that he gave them, and the guy that, well, look what I did, I saved it, I buried it, but look, you got your money back, and he's the one that got in trouble. So I'm wondering if this is within our fiduciary duty to the trust. Melody, you're saying it is. Gita, you are saying it is. Let's get some other take from Commissioner Wesley, Vice Chair.
Mr. Chair, the Vice Chair logged off. He says he has stomach flu, but he wrote in the text to me that he's in support of the investment committee's recommendation.
Okay, very good. Okay.
We did hire them because they're the experts, not
Agreed.
us. And so, yeah, he's in support, but he had to log off a couple of minutes ago.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Wesley, do you have a comment?
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Of course.
It's always, a little nerve-wracking when you're investing money that's not yours, somebody else's money, right? To do that. And especially for something, quite this large that has always just basically, been kept safely in TCDs. And I always like to pray over these matters first to see where the Lord's leading is really, on this. I believe that as fiduciaries for the dispossessed owners, that we have acted accordingly by seeking the advice of professionals in the area, in this particular area. And, we started off still as Melanie illustrated for us in the pie chart as being, still conservative. Although it's going to be a leap of faith, I am at peace in going with their recommendations. I believe that they've fully vetted and they know fully our positions and what our desires are. And I believe that this recommendation carries, it's still within what our goals are, and what we want to do, but yet taking a little bit more risk. So that's kind of like where I'm at. I'm leaning towards that direction. I'm just still trying to digest everything. And I mean, do we have to make a decision today?
No, ma'am, but it's certainly you can certainly defer this decision. Nonetheless, if you feel
I
like you
think-
need more information between now and next
I
week.
think it seems like everybody is in endurance. Everybody seems to be okay with it and comfortable. Notwithstanding our legal counsel, unless she wants to chime in on the matter. But our two members of the investment committee are comfortable. They're recommending. So I'm for it. If everybody's I'm sorry, Commissioner Camacho.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, also maybe if you don't mind, our director was at the meeting as well, and he's very astute in investment and financing. So maybe he can share his thoughts on this, just so that we can also hear from him. Is that okay?
Yeah,
with you?
his very last comment was indicating that that we hired investment experts on the matter. So that kind of leaned me to his approval of this as well. I know Sandra Miller, you were about to, but let's give our director a quick chance and then I'll go to you. Director? Director, you're on mute.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay, well, I agree with what our vice chair said, that he agrees with the committee. They're the experts. That's why we've invested with them to help us grow the funds in the land bank. And we've been accused of in the past of not doing this. And finally, we've moved forward, and then we kind of paused for a little bit. I mean, it's been only a few short months. And I agree that right now I understand what bull and bear markets are. And this is a bull market, and this is the time that you want to get in with certain investments. And I tend to listen to the experts on this. They're the experts, and as far as I know, they've been doing, if you look at their record, you look at their track history, they're not into losing, they're into winning. So I tend to agree with them. And it'd be up to the commissioners, though, to make a decision of which, or with both formulas that they provided us, one from BGIS and the other from Raymond James. Or we could go with both of them for each financial institution here. That would be a decision. But I see it as something moving forward. I do understand what's going on kind of with the market out there. With the feds messing around with the points, with the interest rates, but it can't carry on like this forever. And right now we've enjoyed, and we're currently enjoying, very high percentage with CDs, but I do know that that's going to plateau, then it's going to start to drop, just like interest rates in the bank do. They keep moving up and down. So I would trust in the advice of the advisors here. That's why they're here. And I tend to do that. When I don't understand or know something, I may know a little bit about it, and you go to the experts. These are our experts.
Very good, Director, very good. My only concern was just that our fiduciary duty. I mean, if anything happens and we did lose money, it's still within our, we were still correct or right. We're no criticisms of what we did. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. And right now I'm for this. Our two members that are part of the investment committee are for it. Our vice chair, you are. I'm comfortable that we are true to our fiduciary duty to the trust. So notwithstanding that, Sandra, do you have, our legal counsel, have any final thoughts on this?
Well, neither I nor anyone in the AG's office is an expert on finance. But I could tell you something about fiduciary duty, and that is the commission's duty is really to use its best business judgment when making these kinds of decisions. And as long as you use your best business judgment under the circumstances, you have fulfilled that duty. And whether to go in on this, it's your decision. This is part of your authority, and nobody else has that authority except the commission. That being said, I don't know whether this is possible. Maybe instead of going all in and putting all the eggs in one basket, you could try a small investment and slowly work up as you get used to the idea. That's something to think about. I don't think it has to be an all or nothing sort of proposition here. I don't know if that's possible. Well, like Gita, who are the experts, let the commission know.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, legal counsel, for your input. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe that was the recommendation or the plan that Raymond James placed forth.
Right, according to our experts, this is a very conservative
yes
approach. They're probably their most conservative approach.
They both have similar plans from approaching it a different way from different directions, what I've seen, to get the same results. So
okay, I'm all for making a move. Somebody make a motion.
maybe we need help with the motion. Would you like Mel to chime in?
Mr. Director, I think if we just adopt the two,
As submitted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
You can
simple.
do that.
Yeah. Okay, but Commissioner Camacho?
Sure. I move to adopt the Appendix A and Appendix B on the investment policy statement. Is that good enough?
I believe there's more to it. We have another page, part of the appendices. You may just want to say to approve the appendices as submitted.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the new well, it's the new investment policy, right?
This is an addition to the
an addition to the motion on the floor.
It'll be the appendices to the investment policy statement.
Okay, a motion on the floor by Commissioner Camacho to approve the addition to the investment policy statement. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Oh, second by Commissioner Rios. Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No nays. Director, motion passes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, commissioners, and we look forward to seeing our investments grow with our investment advisors.
And thank you, Gita, very much, Melanie, and our
attorney.
Our attorney, Sijus Masi.
Yes.
And our two committee members on the investment policy. Thank you so much, Sijus Masi, guys. I think we did make a very good sound decision here. So let's move on. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move down now to public comments. Item number 8, public comments.
Mr. Chair, no, there was no request for public comments for this meeting.
Okay, so just Masi again, Director. Any final thoughts on our next meeting and any final thoughts?
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everyone that worked on this today. This has been a long time coming, but I know we worked pretty hard at this. Our next meeting will be the second Wednesday of September. Will be September 13 at 2 p.m. or 2:30. Mr. Chair.
I'm fine with 2 p.m. Let's go ahead and make that tentative, and let's see how Vice Chair's schedule is, because he's the only one that would determine, I guess, in the past whether it's 2 or 2:30, correct?
He said he does have his radio program back on. It's in the morning on Tuesdays. It's not a Wednesday, so he said it's.
Oh, okay, okay, sounds good. So let's just keep it at 2.
At 2, okay.
And then we do have the working session that you're gonna.
Yes, and we'll,
Confirm.
I'll work with Gita to set that up.
Okay, any other final thoughts? Thank
No,
you,
that'll be
everybody.
all.
So just mostly to the staff, director, you and the staff, great job again as usual. Commissioners, and good to see you again, Commissioner Rios, welcome back. Of course, and to our committee members on the investment committee, Secretary Cruz and Commissioner Camacho, great job. Thank you very much. And everybody else, Gita, our investment advisors. Thank you very much. Melanie, oh, by the way, Ms. Villaverde, how are you? Are you related to Roland?
So Ariana just walked out of the office, but her father is Dipuntu Ernie.
Oh, okay. I went to, her mom and I are classmates, alumni, 79.
Oh, I'm gonna call her back.
Yeah. Yep, she just texted me to see if we can play for her, for I guess the one that's the anniversary coming up.
Oh, for the
Yeah,
uncle.
for Ernest, yeah. Well, tell her I said hi again. Nice to meet her.
We'll do, sir.
Okay, thank you again. Melanie, everybody, Sejus Masi. It is now
Thank you, everyone.
4:29. Motion to adjourn. Adjourn. This meeting is adjourned. Adios, everybody.
Adios.
Thank you. Adios.